Hello. This is our place this afternoon. It's a beautiful afternoon. It's like 11 degrees out here. And what I thought we'd do is I would go and introduce you to our chickens. We have currently about 8 chickens. We've been raising them for, oh my goodness, probably almost 5 years now. 4 years, something like that. And yeah, they're loving this warm weather too. It's unseasonably warm. It's like February 22nd today, and today's high went up to plus 12. So yeah, this is the coop that we have. They're all hiding in there. Hello, girls. Yeah, so I'll introduce you to everybody. This is Ping-Pong and Emma. And this is Puff. Puff is a frizzle. Has his PC Poo. That's PC Poo. Hey, PC Poo. This is Choco. She's a brown Orpington, and that's Miss O, who is a lavender Orpington. And then we have B1, who is a barred rock. And over there, that's Cheeks. And Cheeks is an Americana. Emma there is I believe, a black copper Moran. Ping Pong here is a lavender Orpington. And she was the first one we got. She's the queen of the coop. And PC Poo here is the peacekeeper. She's always been the one to break up any fights. Just a sweetheart. This is Emma. She's wonderfully curious. Always wants to know what we're doing. She's got the cutest little feet. Look at those. All the feathers. And Puff. Puff is the chicken that's always the first to check out what's going on. In their coop, we've got a couple of sawhorses they like to sit on. We've got some straw because chickens really don't like walking on the snow. So over the winter, it gets laid on the snow. And this is their inner coop. We originally made the coop just to be this inner coop and the indoor part, but we quickly found out back when we had like 14 chickens, that was just too small of a space. So we built this larger outdoor pen for them. And as you can see, we've made all sorts of toys and little distraction spots and lots of space for them. And here they've got a little roosting bar, and that little divot there on the ground is where they like to do their dust bathing I guess. Changed up an old ladder into a platform. And then in the coop, got all their nesting boxes. And we've got some oyster shells that they need to eat. And a big box full of grit that they ingest and keeps in their crop. This is their heated water for the winter. This is the dumbest design on the planet, but it's kind of what we got. Whenever you try to put the top on and then flip it over quickly, half the time you end up with a big old shoe full of water. Well, it looks like we've been given 2 eggs today. See if there's any in the last box. No. 2 eggs. Got the windows open to a little bit of ventilation for them. I'll try to air out the coop a bit. What you think, girls? You enjoying the weather? A couple times a year I like to clean out the boxes the girls spend all the time in. It kind of gets packed down. The sawdust gets broken down, so it's Since it's so nice today, I thought I'd do that, and a lot of those shavings then will go underneath the roosts, because chickens tend to go to the bathroom a lot at night or first thing in the morning. So the bulk of the waste in the coop is actually underneath the roost bars. So instead of wasting this shavings, goes under there to collect all the waste product and keep everything nice and clean. Fun facts about chickens: you don't need a rooster to get eggs. The chickens will just make an egg every day or every couple of days, depending on the breed. And they'll lay those eggs whether they're fertilized or not. In fact, most of the eggs you buy in the store are unfertilized eggs, or chickens that just, well, sadly live in a tiny little box most of the time. Not the healthiest of eggs, but probably the easiest way to keep a chicken if you're not so concerned about their happiness or welfare. And chickens also lay eggs proportional to the amount of daylight. So in the summer, when there's the most hours of daylight, they lay the most number of eggs. Still like one a day, but in the winter, like around December, January, the darkest months here, they'll lay maybe one egg every couple of days, or we'll get one egg out of, a dozen chickens. So we've actually learned to store the eggs in a solution of slaked lime in the summer when we have lots of eggs coming, so that come the winter, when the production slows down, we can tap into those stored eggs and hopefully not have to buy eggs from the store in the winter, just eat ours. I've found that those eggs are pretty much good for anything except for poaching. For some reason, the texture gets kind of weird when you poach them, so we don't poach them. But they're great for baking and just frying up in the morning. And gotta say, cost-wise, probably cheaper to buy eggs in bulk at the store. Although right now they're like $6.50 for a dozen eggs or so. Maybe $7. Well, these are free-range organic chickens, so it's probably 9 dozen an egg, or $9 for a dozen eggs. So I don't know if it's cheaper or not to keep them when you calculate in the feed and shavings and oyster, crushed oyster and the grit, but it's awfully convenient to just walk out to the coop and get the next morning's eggs. So I'm going to refill all these with sawdust and be good to go. Take the bag of waste product back to the compost, out to the compost so it can sit. Makes excellent fertilizer, but you do have to let it season for a couple of years because there's so much nitrogen in chicken waste. But yeah, it gets added to the compost, and we've got a couple of piles of compost. Current year, last year, and the year before. The other awesome thing about chickens is they eat most of our kitchen scraps. And those scraps would go into the compost anyways. But now they get super nitrogenized. And most of it bring out to them and they enjoy the treats, and we'll get out to our compost one way or another. All right, done in here. Got our 2 eggs. Take that. Let's go out to the compost. Chicken waste out to the compost. It's so warm, our little path is losing all its snow. We bought this, they're calving sleds, a couple years ago when we first moved out here. I gotta say, it's probably one of the best purchases we've ever made. I just use this thing all winter, lugging stuff around the property when we can't get the tractor out. So here's our greenhouse. Not much going on in there right now. I've got a project I'm in the middle of doing. I'll show you later. Where I'm trying to make a heat sink so that hopefully we can grow things in the greenhouse for the majority of winter. There's my sad little garden. Oh, can't wait to get back into it. 2 more months. In fact, next month I'm going to be starting the seeds on the table in front of the pretty much only window that has enough light to start seeds. And that pile of tarps in the back, underneath there are the 3 beehives. They're all sleeping right now. Actually, it's plus 11. They might not be sleeping, but got 3 beehives out there, and they keep me busy between the garden and the bees and the chickens. It's a pretty good life. All right, I'm gonna empty this compost into our massive compost pile. That's this year's compost pile. Over on the other side is a pile of dirt. That's the compost pile that will be spread on the garden this year. The compost pile here that we're using right now is going to be usually around May. I stopped filling it, start a new one, and then this one's going to sit for a full 1.5 years, and then it'll go onto the garden. And so we just keep that cycle going. And that way I don't burn any of the plants with all the nitrogen from the chicken poop. Seems to work pretty well. Such a beautiful day. It's overcast now. It was full sun all day. Can't wait for summer. I love living out here. It's beautiful.